Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We provide fan-oriented and analytic discussions on a variety of animated shows, movies, and anime, currently featuring Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, Miraculous Ladybug, Star Wars Rebels, and RWBY. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Yo.
Today, Delaney and I will be discussing the episode of the third.
I think it's eight.
I think it's eight, third volume of RWBY, entitled Destiny. We cover RWBY every week here on the Overly Animated Podcast. You can check us out at overlyanimated.com. And spoilers for this episode and all of RWBY, all of Volume 3 of RWBY. Let's get right into Destiny. Very interesting episode last week. I loved it. You were also somewhat high on it. Lots of discussion came out of it. What do you think of this very quiet follow-up?
Meh.
Meh?
Meh.
Meh?
I don't know. I wasn't that enthralled with the episode this week. Towards the end I was a little bit more interested, but I don't care about Team Juniper at all, except for Pyrrha. And I don't know. And that's not necessarily the show's fault, but I don't care. And though Pyrrha's interactions are very interesting today, but I don't just, however you say his name, I hate him. And
John?
Yeah.
John, yeah.
Yeah, I hate him. And I don't know, just wasn't that interested. I mean, I was glad to see more Yang, and we had a very quick kind of, okay, Team RWBY, we are resolute with Yang, so that was pretty nice. Crow was interesting. I don't think we expected any of that to happen.
Blake talked for a hot second there.
Praise my child. There was a sighting and she spoke.
Yeah.
And I think, and it's a good lead-in for what we're going to get from I'm really bad with names today. What's his face?
What's his face?
What's his name?
I don't know who you're talking about. Adam, yeah.
So that was a good lead-in for obviously what's going to happen. But I mean, I don't know. Even the last part, which is what I liked because it's RWBY, but a lot of that didn't even make a lot of sense either. I don't know. This episode was I felt like it was all over the place, and also it was all over the place and for things I didn't care about. So I was I didn't care about this episode very much.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so last week I thought it was the best episode of the series coming off of the worst episode of the series. And now we get Destiny, which I think is good. It's yeah, I'm mostly with you. I mean, I liked it, but it's not great or anything. I'm very, very happy that we just didn't have a fight this episode. That's the biggest thing. No pointless fights. This was a very character-driven, quiet piece about the just emotional states of a lot of our characters leading into theoretically the events, the 4 parts, or it's not going to be in a 4-part finale or anything, but things are going to be happening later. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think any of this is a series of vignettes with 2 characters talking to each other basically, and I didn't think any of them were very strong, but some of I think all of them were at least coherent. And some of them presented kind of complex emotional dynamics. I thought it was good. But yeah, nothing special. I agree.
It's not for me, it's not the structure or anything of the episode. I just didn't care about anything that was going on.
I mean, obviously you're not an Arcos shipper, so the Arcos Legion is getting very mad at you now. This was a big shipping episode, though. We had a lot of dynamics that we don't usually see. We had some freezer burn, we had some monochrome in there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Monochrome, I got excited about the monochrome.
Yeah, but no ladybug. That's the one thing you ship. Yeah, no ladybug.
The one thing I ship. There's no hope for it.
We've covered everything. There's some bumblebee too, you could argue, but no, definitely no ladybug in there.
Sad.
Okay, let's get into specifics on Destiny here. So our first kind of scene is Team RWBY talking with Ironwood, and it's kind of boring, and Ironwood's yeah, I guess I'm not super mad at you, but you guys are disqualified. But
I'm going to yell at you.
But I'm going to yell at you anyway, because you're pissing me off, and I'm the mean guy. So we were like, oh, is Yang going to jail? No, she's just disqualified from the tournament. What do we
That
think of
was
this
so
punishment?
anticlimactic.
Yeah.
You're disqualified. Like I was just like, really?
And like no one seems to be that mad at her. We just keep referencing that the general populace is mad at her, but
Yeah, I don't like. I feel like this doesn't like deliver the way they want it to deliver because like we have a tournament, and like if the entire show was a tournament, it would be okay. Like no, I don't mean okay. Like from this perspective, it would be a little bit more earth shattering, or like it would we would care. But we and you don't care about the
I
tournament.
don't care at all that Team Ruby is disqualified. I couldn't care less
Like
about this.
what? Like what's it even? I don't know. Like I feel like if they like, I'm granted they might not care. They would just this just has to be something to get the plot going. But I don't know. Like it just
I mean, I
like
don't.
the tournament is just there and we don't care about it. But they could have made us care about it.
I
That's the
guess. I mean,
thing.
they kind of try. They showed enough.
Well,
uh,
there's a difference between like showing it and like I don't know. Like there was never a sense of urgency with the tournament. Granted, there hasn't been any sense of urgency with this entire season. But I don't know. Like there's just like the tournament happened. It's not like you read Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire and you care about the Triwizard Tournament. Like, because J.K. Rowling makes you care about it. But then, like, but then you watch this and it's like, I don't care about this tournament. Like, the characters don't even really care. Like, what? Like, it's just it's all so forced.
that's the thing. That none of them seems too super concerned with whether they win. None of the teams we see.
Like, which is fine. Like, that's great. But I don't know. Like, it's really annoying to have, like, this device for so long and it's like, no one cares.
I don't think this is really a problem with this episode. Like, whatever. It was in the beginning of the episode. There don't need
Well,
to
no,
be.
I was just talking about, like, the disqualified part. Like, we're finally at that point and it's like, why, like, none of this mattered.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like how the disqualified functions in this episode, I think, is fine. But I think this is a big problem with regards to the last two, which showed us just this huge dramatic moment, and like turns out, like no consequences, and it doesn't matter. It's like who cares?
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. It just like and the thing is like they talk about it in it's such an outside of Team Ruby thing, which that's good. Like I'm glad it is. I'm glad they made up and everything's fine, but that it's not even that urgent. Like Ruby only talks to Velvet and like Velvet's like, "Yeah, it's cool. Love Yang. Yang's awesome as shit." And everyone's like, "Is Yang okay?" And that's great, but like I don't know, like it completely takes away from that shock thing. Like it's like no one cares.
Yeah, I think it was mishandled.
It's really weird.
Hmm. That being said, it presents us with somewhat interesting dynamics in Team Ruby in this next scene, with how they react to what Yang does, and I think one or two of these are obviously Ruby's going to support Yang, right? So, but I
Obviously.
think Weiss and Blake's reactions are kind of interesting and not what I would
Yeah,
have
no,
expected.
Weiss's reaction surprised me the most.
Yeah, Weiss is like, yeah, you're hot headed but not ruthless, and she's just like completely supporting her 100%.
And Weiss was about to like punch Blake. Like
Dude,
Weiss is gonna deck her.
dude, the freezer burn is real with Weiss and Yang here.
Agree.
Are you on board?
It's real. I mean, I'm basically on board with any of the ships as long as Yang and Ruby are not involved in the same ship.
So like any potential girl pairing in Team Ruby, except for
Basically.
the sisters, is going to be fine here. But they're
Yes.
unwilling to do any of them. So you know, uh, so
Ladybug's just the OTP.
heavily disagree on that one, but that's okay. So Weiss, so Rice's reaction here is interesting. Do we think Weiss has had the most development this season? We've claimed in the past this season that Weiss now is the most developed character on the show. Do we think that this reaction makes sense with her current state?
Like I think if you watched like the entire show and then got to this point, you'd be like, but all of their development has a lot of it has been off screen. So I think this is like I don't like their relation. It's really weird how they like we came to the beginning of the season and like they're all biffles and it's like okay, so like it's I think it's believable just from like everything else we've gotten.
Yeah. So
Like
like
I have a suspension of disbelief basically for all of their relationships because like we've come in at a point where like they've known each other longer than we've known them and like it's like there was a lot of it's really weird like there was a lot of like granted a lot of it had to do with like just moving past stuff and like so we could like get on with things happening but because we got to the beginning of the season and like Weiss and Ruby are best friends okay and just things like
No,
that.
dude,
Like,
that was developed. Don't worry, that happened on screen
mm,
and in my head, both of them.
in your head, mostly in
No,
your head, but
also on
that's fine.
screen.
Which it for me, it's not like none of the relationships for me are developed enough, like for me to want to see them on screen. Like I haven't seen enough of it on screen, but I have like I'm over it.
So you're approaching this from the Weiss and Yang level. So like I think that it's this is really natural progression in terms of Weiss's character, regardless of her interactions with Yang, because over the course of the season and last season too, we've been seeing Weiss getting more, and also at the end of season one, Weiss more trusting, more open with her emotions. Um, and I think it just makes a lot of sense that you would implicitly trust your team member at this point, and it's just kind of a shows us the end game of this progression that Weiss has been on. So from that angle, I really like it. From the Weiss and Yang angle, I think that you're right. Most of it, it's like randomly these two these two are like have this relationship we saw earlier this season, and they're fighting together, and apparently they work well together. But whatever. I'll buy it. Right?
Like we've that's like I'm just past the point. Like it doesn't matter at this point. It just
It's fine.
that's how they've become a team, and it's fine. Like I don't care. I'm
I don't
over
think
it.
it's like atrocious character building. I think it's fine
No.
for a lot of it to have
It just
happened.
it's just if you decide to go too much deeper and like analyze it, like there's it's kind of not there. But like
Yeah.
it's fine for me to watch it and to buy into it right now.
Yeah, so I'm fine. I like thinking about this from Weiss's character angle, but you're right, from a dynamics perspective, it's a little. But Blake, let's talk about Blake's reaction though. Blake says, uh, basically, I want to believe you, but Adam happened. So I guess I'm skeptical. She's like, I had someone very dear to me change. It wasn't in an instant. It was gradual. I want to trust you. I will trust you, but you have to look me in the eye and blah 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 blah. What do you think of this reaction from Blake?
Uh,
As the Blake master here, what do you think of this reaction from Blake?
I mean, it's I think from a character standpoint, it does make a lot of sense. I would have appreciated a little bit more of I don't know because we are coming off of well, I mean, it was a while ago, but coming off of Blake, like Blake's betrayal of from the not air quotes. It's not wasn't really betrayal, but like they had to hunt down Blake and like figure everything out, and had to trust Blake again, and then now we're having this. And I don't know. I would have appreciated a little bit more. Like I think it's believable, and I don't. I think Blake's what Blake says makes sense for her character. And it's also it is a tad forced, but it's because we haven't talked about Adam, and like we have to bring Adam. Like, Adam's coming, so like we have to do this. So like it makes sense from like a plot perspective, and it's believable for Blake's character. Like it makes sense. It's a little odd, but I think it's fine for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there's a problem with this, it's that Adam is not the forefront of our minds. I mean, we saw him last episode, but like Adam's dynamic with Blake is not something that the show has looked at in depth. So I think it's a little bit like, oh, now we're bringing this facet of Blake's character back. I mean, it was a little bit. They tried to naturally bring it back with the flashbacks, but it's a little bit jarring, I think.
I'm really afraid that, and I'm almost positive this is what's going to happen. I don't want it to be, but I'm really afraid that like Blake has been absent the majority of the season. Like there has been no Blake, and it's not even like Blake's on screen not talking. Blake hasn't been around, and which is frustrating for me on like a very deep level. But for I'm really afraid that they're going to boil Blake's character down to this season to just her relationship with Adam, and it's going to be super irritating.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to do that.
And I'm like really just
I mean, we need to bring Adam in for the last 4 episodes, so that's what's going to happen.
I just feel like every time we do any sort of development with any characters on this show, like it's because and we have to like sacrifice someone else to do it. Like we have to sacrifice all the characters around that character for like
Yeah,
why get development.
the show is not good at keeping track of all its characters, for sure. Were you feeling the Bumblebee here in this scene?
I was feeling the Bumblebee. The Bumblebee was there.
I don't know. I wasn't feeling it as much as the Fraser burn.
I wasn't feeling it as much as the monochrome that's later. But
I think it's third out of the three options in this in terms of what was presented. I mean, this is the one I actually ship out of these three options, but like I think it was
the thing is I'm like coming around to monochrome and it's a problem. Like it needs to
yeah,
stop.
that's a problem. Also, I mean, none of them are actually problems, but obviously,
Also, I do ship Ruby and Weiss, but like
no,
I'm
it's the only one that you are allowed to canonly ship. Okay, that's
Like
that's
Blake, and I have to ship Blake with everyone.
yeah,
Like
that's fine.
Blake is my Lynn. I have to ship her with everyone because she's my child and I love her.
Yeah, basically Blake is your Lynn from Korra. Yeah. Okay, Team Juniper now. We have a scene. Well, we go into the hallway first, and then they're kind of there. Um, apparently Mercury. They tell. Apparently they were told Mercury and his team went back to Haven. Interesting.
Yeah, to
Uh,
be with his man or whatever.
yeah, I
That's
guess they spread that
implied.
somehow, even though they were like not there. Ruby wants Spirit to win the fight. It's what Yang would want, says Weiss. I think it's like
Talk about Yang
she's
like she's
not
dead.
dead. She's literally right there. And then
So great.
Blake and Weiss are like, or Weiss is like coffee, and then Blake's like tea, and then so they're getting tea.
So great.
And
All about
it looks like it's like with Ruby, but then she goes off on her own. So they're just having a
monochrome is
they're
real.
on their own having a date, right? So that's what's happening.
I'm all about it.
No, monogram is not real,
Blake
but
and Weiss would literally like go on a date and just there would be no talking. They would
no,
just
yeah,
stare
there
at each other the
no
entire time.
no talking. Yeah, it's not no. You need Ruby with Weiss to have conversation. That's how it works.
I just
It was definitely real in this. This was like the most canon monochrome we've gotten, I would say.
yeah, no, it's awesome.
I mean, also the entire end of season 1, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Nora needs to get Nora. We have like, oh, Nora's on the screen. We have to have Nora acting crazy. So she's like, we need to get Pierre in the shape. And Ren, we need Ren's on the screen, so we need to have Ren as an opposing dynamic. I do like Ren's "Please do nothing to the cook" apron.
You know, I
That's a very Ren thing. He makes this algae drink, and then we have that entire thing. This is like the most proactive Ren has been in like doing something ever, like pushing this
like,
algae drink.
and he's like actually excited.
Yeah,
I just do not care about Team Juniper like at all. Like there is zero care
I care about
except for
Team.
Pyrrha.
Like I like Nora and Ren. I mean, I don't care about John that much, but
I don't care about Nora and Ren. Like I don't like I don't know.
I'm fine with these little scenes here and there. But I don't know, whatever. Uh, Ren's voice is very on point here. Monty's brother voicing Ren now. I thought it was very accurate. Um, yeah, that scene was kind of worthless. I'll say that.
That's the thing is like we really like we've been complaining. We're like, where's Team Ruby? The show is called Ruby, and where's Team Ruby? And then we have to have Juniper while this is going on. And it's like, do you really?
Next scene though was Yang with Crow. Uh, this was like our plotty scene, I guess. What do we think of this scene? I mean, I have questions plot wise about how this makes any sense, but other than that, what do you think the character dynamics presented?
I mean, it's like it's fine. I don't like it. Just it was so out of the blue. Like, I mean, it makes sense that Crow would come and like see his niece and stuff, but like, what? I don't know. Like the entire interaction was just weird, and we're bringing this back, and it's I don't like. I just feel like this. I don't like this plot line. Like this entire season just feels like we're grasping at any like plot thread we can like get in our hand, and we're just holding on to it really tightly. But there's like no end in sight, and like nothing goes together, and it's just I don't. It's a
The
mess.
plot is very jarring and messy right now. I agree. Think the
And
scene
like,
is. I think the scene is natural though. I think it makes sense that this happens.
well, like this is fine. Yeah, I don't know. It just we're introduced like well, this plot thread was already introduced vaguely, and now this is like okay, this is gonna happen. So then it's like, is Yang going to go off on her own? I just everything that happens in this episode is just very weird and jarring. Like, and it's not anything that's super surprising. It's just like, why is this happening now?
It does seem weird. Why would you bring in Raven at this second?
Like,
It's a little.
and I can like I understand like introducing like you can have a moment in a plot and be like, okay, I'm gonna drop this here, and it's not gonna make any sense right now, but it's gonna make a lot of sense like forever from now. But then we're already in the middle of like a no urgent plot. There's weird things going on, nothing makes sense, and then we drop this here, and it's like, why?
Yeah,
There's just
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was fine with the scene. I didn't think it was great. Um, neither of these characters are super strong right now, so whatever. So
My problem with this episode is that we just like drop plot things and they're not really related to each other. They're just related to the overall like season. And that's what I don't like about this episode. Just drop, 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 drop. And like this episode just feels like, okay, the tournament's over for Team RWBY, so now we're gonna like, throw all this plot stuff together. And it just, I
I
don't know.
mean,
It's
there
just a
isn't
mess.
actually that much plot stuff happening. It's all mostly just character dynamics, but
Well, but they're dropping things like Pyrrha is like clearly leaning towards like her decision, and then we have this, which clearly like this Raven thing is going to be part of the plot. It's basically like a really forced foreshadowing episode for like different parts of the plot.
yeah.
That's why I don't like it because it's like really forced.
Yeah, I mean, I agree the plot stuff isn't coming together well right now, but I think that if you look at this episode in isolation, I think things flow decently well between the scenes. I do agree it is a little bit hard to not get frustrated by the state of the plot, but whatever. Let's focus on the scenes for now. Yang with Crow. Crow's like, Yang, you're either lying or you're crazy. Crow's best line ever, and here I thought your dark-haired friend was the emo one.
Pretty great.
Uh,
Fantastic.
this is our first emo reference in RWBY. Is this a thing that exists in the
Apparently.
world too? Yeah. Would you describe Blake as emo?
I mean, yes. Hello.
Okay, yes, I see.
Get Blake.
Yang's like, I saw my mom when I came to a person attacking me was gone, and I thought I saw her. Okay, so here's my big question, and I feel like I'm missing something. Did Yang not see Raven at the end of last season? Was that not a thing that happened?
I mean, it. I guess it was really clear to us, but not to
Because
her.
what the season did was in episode like whatever 11, they're on the train, and then this thing that Yang is talking about happened, and then at the end of episode 12, Yang sees Raven, and this is just like not referenced at all in this scene, and I don't understand. I'm not sure if this is. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like a question in our minds. I assume it's supposed to be weird that we don't know about this. Like that it's like, so is that scene from the future? Did Yang not remember that? Is Yang hiding it purposely? What's going on here?
I don't even like. Nothing makes sense.
I've been trying to find people to talk about it, but I have not seen an answer yet. Okay, so finally I see a message on CO about it. So Yang, quote from Anonymous. So Yang meeting Raven at the end of episode 12 was just a dream. It meant that RT could not figure out what Raven and Yang were supposed to talk about. That's why Yang did not mention it to Crow. That was their interpretation. Okay, so other people then a response, how can it be a dream if Raven talked? Yang's brain can't create Raven's voice because she doesn't know her voice. Wow, what a coherent response. Good job, CO.
Wow.
So yeah, people are talking about this now. So why did she not mention to Crow that she met Raven outside a beacon? That sounds way more important than telling him that she saw her at the train. I agree with this person. They did say Yang just had trust issues on this and was keeping stuff from people. Yeah, okay. So at least I finally saw the talking about it now. So yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
I mean, keeping the information from Crow doesn't make any sense, especially if Crow's like just giving her all of this information. I don't know.
So this person says, if you just now figured out that the finale of episode 12 was a dream sequence, then I'm surprised you're even processing the info you were given in the last 3 episodes. Okay, this is typical bad-natured posting on CO. That was not obviously a dream sequence. What are you talking about? That was like presented as something that actually happened.
Yeah, like
are we just calling it a dream now? Is that what happened?
Like, I mean, I'm definitely one who like infers a lot, and I get irritated when you're like, no, but like that wasn't a dream sequence. Like there was nothing to suggest it was a dream sequence.
There's 2 possibilities. Either it was a dream or it was something like from the future that they're presenting non-sequentially, which I doubt. Or
Yang, irritating as crap.
It could be a dream. The non-sequential thing I don't think is happening. It could be a dream. Or Yang is purposely hiding this from Crow, which I guess is also possible.
Well, the only thing that makes sense narratively is like she's keeping it from Crow. But in this scene, that doesn't make a lot of sense because Crow is just giving her all this information. Like there is no. Granted, we also never know we don't know what Crow knows. Like Crow is like this. Like Crow is just Crow. Like you don't know what he's saying. We don't know if it's true Like we don't know anything.
Yeah.
So like I mean the only thing that makes sense narratively is that she's purposely keeping this. Like it being a dream sequence, like that how would knowing it's a dream sequence now help anything? Like that doesn't make any sense to do to the audience. It doesn't make sense narratively. Like what's it matter?
I assume this is supposed to be ambiguous, that like, and we're supposed to be questioning it now. Like, I highly doubt that the intent of that end of last season was like, oh, this is a dream. I highly doubt that, but I don't know.
It could like there's no like having a scene like that, like the only like you have to know it's a dream sequence to like the character doesn't have to know, but the audience kind of needs to know at some point, and having it be like you don't have you never watch anything and be like, oh, that was a dream, like 6 episodes down the line. Like that's not how it works. Like you might not find out until like the next episode. Like they did that with Bones. Like you would have a dream. You're like, oh, it's they're finally together, yay! But it turns out like half an hour later, like it was a dream. That's fine. But like you can't do it 6 episodes later.
Now that I think about it, I feel like I'm remembering some discussion of this being a dream, but I don't fully remember. So I don't know. We'll see what people say about that. But either way, it seems not ended well. I feel, yeah, I'm remembering something about some discussion of that scene, but we'll see. So either way, let's discuss what actually happened in the episode.
Granted, that's anytime anything weird happens, everyone's like, it was a dream. Like let's be real.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's a go to, and it's never a dream. So
yeah. Crow replies, "That was your mom. She didn't say a word, did she?" I keep in touch with my sister, says Crow, confirming that Raven.
he's actually their uncle.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's actually Yang's uncle. Yeah, and Ruby's ankle in step uncle. Is that a thing?
Step uncle.
Yeah. Um, People, I assume in the comments, will be like, we already knew that, and I'm telling you, no, we didn't. This was not something the show confirms, but now this is something you could imply. As per usual, people are going to comment about stuff that it's like, this is true? And I'm like, no, this is just your speculation. That doesn't mean it was true. The show didn't say it. This is a good example of that, but now it's confirmed, so now you can say it's now you can say it's true. That it's kind of a meaningless revelation, I think, basically.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. She didn't say a word, did she? Yeah, we already talked about this. She wanted to give you a message, saved you once, but you shouldn't expect that kindness again. So it also seems like Raven is not referencing that scene being real, right? Like, yeah. So all indications point towards that scene not existing in this scene. Raven has an interesting way of looking at the world, but it's dangerous, says Crow. Yang should move on, but Raven slips some info and Yang could track her down. Interesting, I guess.
I know. I mean, it's hard to be interested about something that we know literally nothing about.
I mean, Raven's an interesting person in theories, but like
that's the thing. That's like we know nothing about her.
I think that this episode gives the impression. Last episode we were like, okay, Raven could be the big bad, but I think this episode contradicts that.
This kind of indicates that Raven is kind of like a free agent, vigilante kind of.
Crow certainly would be hugely surprised if Raven was the big bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they talk. So.
Like this just kind of sounds like Raven has some sort of maybe twisted view of the world. I mean, don't expect that kindness again, you say to your daughter. A little weird. But
yeah, I think this is to your.
It'll be interesting.
Niece, yeah. I think this is Raven. Yeah, so I think we can cross Raven off the list of bad Cinder partner candidates.
Yeah.
So now we have the Arcos scene with Pyrrha and John. Yeah, some interesting. I mean, neither of us particularly care about this character dynamic or the pairing, but I guess they're at least trying to do some narratively interesting things in the scene.
Yeah.
My first reaction to this scene was that, like, wow, this is unfair and dumb. Like that. I guess it's like I understand why John would say that, but like I feel like this contrived narrative angst based off of a already contrived narrative plot point. But then rewatching it, it's like it's kind of elegantly handled a little bit. Like at least this is like the most competent they can really be with this type of stuff. I think like this.
I mean, it's I mean, it's just I don't know. Like for me, it's really irritating because at the end, it's like all about Jean. Like, and it's for Jean, it's just gonna be all about like how he handled it, and it's not like it just and it's not his fault. He doesn't know, but that it just it's so irritating. Like,
That's like a legitimate thing, a legitimate criticism, saying that the scene turns it into what could I have said, John's point of view, right? Like
yeah,
this,
and it's
that's
just
that's a huge criticism of Miles and Carrie's, that they make things from the male character's perspective whenever possible, and they do this with John a lot. But that being
and it's
said, it
so
is
irritating.
only a little bit at the end. Um, yeah, it's like Pyrrha could have just told John, but I guess not really. She'd have phrased it in a specific way to get that reaction from him. Um,
I was really afraid though that it was gonna like I was like, please, period, do not make it sound like it's about like whatever dumb romance this is about to be. Because I was afraid that's what was gonna happen. Like she was gonna phrase it, and then he was gonna be like, "Oh, I'm glad that didn't happen at least."
this is also just very sad. Like
Yes.
this scene as a lead up to Pierre dying is very sad.
Yeah. No. Yep. Pretty much.
So let's talk. So we have the John's to Pierre, you're the first person to ever believe in me. Yeah, we know. Hand holding, how can I help? Head on shoulder.
She literally drops the cotton candy, like flips
Oh
out.
really? I didn't even I
You
did
know,
not keep
she
track of it.
like there's a big gasp and she drops the cotton candy. And I'm like, was that necessary?
It was necessary. This is a big deal.
Mhm.
Uh You're already doing it. I don't know what to do. Paradis says destiny. When I think of destiny, I don't think of a predetermined fate you can't escape, rather some sort of final goal, something you work towards your entire life, which I feel like is not the definition of destiny. But that's okay. That's like a goal.
Kira can believe whatever she
I
wants.
guess she can define words differently. That's fine. Um, Fulfill destiny in an instant, but at the cost of who you are. I like how this is handled. She like says that, and then she says, "I always felt as I was destined to become a huntress to protect the world." I kind of think this was narratively interestingly done to like present that, and then present how it relates to the problem. I think it makes sense too how she's phrasing this, but I don't know if I can do it. John says, "You never back down from a challenge. Can't let anything stand in your way." And then Pierre like throws him against the wall. Um, so yeah, it's just really sad.
But I think it's really like I'm glad that they did this because like just based on who Pyrrha is and what we got like with the whole mess of it, you'd be like, okay, Pyrrha's gonna sacrifice herself because it's Pyrrha. But I'm really glad we have this like actual like character struggle for Pyrrha because it's like it like I don't know, like it
Yeah,
fleshes it out a little bit more. Like it
yeah,
makes it a little bit more human and like real than just
I agree. Yeah, I think that the scene feels very unfair. Like I feel like this to Pyrrha, and it's like okay, Pyrrha has to do this, and it's just sprung on her. And it's like I think the scene is supposed to be sad, but I also think that it's unintentionally frustrating. If you're like a Pyrrha fan.
yeah, I think it's just because I mean, it really wouldn't have mattered who it was. It's just like extra irritating because it's John. And it's not just because I hate him. It's because his entire character is about like his crippling self-doubt.
Yeah,
And then so he automatically has to go to what did I do? It's my fault, blah blah blah. And it's like that no one cares. Like this is nothing to do with you. And it's just so frustrating like
but ignoring
and that's
John, yeah, I agree. It's
yeah.
frustrating. John is a
And
frustrating
granted,
character.
there was really no way to have this scene and it not be um like pointless for Pyrrha and to interact with someone else because like she can't tell anyone else, like she can't explain to anyone else, and like no one else knows. So it's not like no one on her team, no one on Team RWBY, like nobody knows. They can't. And so this scene was always going to play out this way. It's just extra unfair because it's specifically Jean and like how his character is and how he does things.
Yeah, it's inevitable with John in the scene because he's so badly handled before. Um, so yeah, very sad. This as a prelude to Pierre dying, very sad. However, as a prelude to potentially um, Pyrrha merging with Amber, like, and then they inhabit the same body, then you think about the potential shipping angst that will follow with is it Pyrrha in control or is it Amber in control, and how's that going to function with them and John, right? I could see them.
Yep,
I could see them doing this.
I agree.
Pyrrha's still probably dying though.
Yep, yeah, I feel like Fear is dead.
I'm a little skeptical. I don't know. Just
Granted, her character archetype you kind of build up to kill.
build up to kill. That's rude.
You do like she like for example, her and Danny Lawrence very similar characters, and that's kind of like characters like these who are like so noble and brave and that kind of like you and
Yeah,
when
I
they
mean, I think
kind
it's
of don't have other flaws, they're built up to kill. Like that like their ultimate is self-sacrifice.
I think I agree with the lack of flaw thing. I think this character is different because she has her own romance thing going on and kind of her own plot, and I think it's a little bit of a different dynamic. Um, so I'm a little skeptical that they would just eliminate this Arcos thing that they've been trying to do for a while because they seem to care about it, even though I don't. Uh,
I don't know. Granted, also the way like I just feel like they also like as much as we all ship and like how much like we detest this in particular, they don't really put like a super amount of effort into shipping, like into having like romance arcs. Like they don't really put like a super amount of effort. So I don't know. I feel like it could. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Next scene, Ruby and Velvet. Velvet's back.
I knew you were gonna flip out.
I mean, I like Velvet, but she's also like the worst character in the show, very clearly. Just everything that she says is super awkward and inconsequential. So she's taking pictures of Sun, apparently. Why? I don't know. Is this a thing? Velvet and Sun? Um,
As long as he's away from Blake, I don't
yeah,
care.
that's true. Working on my photography, apparently that was the thing with Velvet. I don't know. And talking in her.
Glad that we have really great vintage cameras in this super high tech
Yeah,
society.
it makes sense. Don't worry. Velvet's like that. They don't know what it's like on the battlefield. Okay, so this I really like. This is like actually the first clever thing narratively that they've done in like forever. And I mean, I liked their narrative stuff last episode, but um, Velvet's like they don't know what it's like on the battlefield. What happened to Coco can happen to anyone, and then they reference the illusion thing with the Coco fight.
Super great.
That happened a while ago, which did not make any sense at the time. And I was like, it wasn't an illusion, but it was apparently. But
I was right.
yeah, you
Jerk.
were right. Yeah, but the point is that it was not well presented then, but like here
Yeah.
they kind of not really naturally weaved it in, and I feel like this was super realistic and made a lot of sense. And I also like
No,
Sleuth
it's great.
Ruby, like I really like that, like Ruby
No,
piecing
I'm all
together what
about
happened.
Sleuth.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of kind of the end of this episode, and like that's a big reason why I think it's good overall.
I will say they're playing off Yang's like thing very like with they don't know what it's like on the battlefield, which from like a real world perspective, that is a very like good thing to present, but like in terms of like this show and like narratively, it's kind of okay. Like
It's like okay,
like there well like when we've already talked a little bit about it, is how like it completely like there was all that shock and then now it doesn't matter.
yeah, but whatever.
I just I
I,
feel like it one like I would like at some point that even if it's like literally like half a second of like people booing Yang or something,
just to
even though
reinforce it. Yeah,
yeah, even though that hurts my soul because I love Yang, but like we need to have that because I don't care. Like it doesn't matter if like I don't know like
yeah,
I want some actual consequences aside from like them being disqualified.
yeah. We'll see.
Granted,
We'll see.
Ruby's gonna have some problems because she's literally about to get into a fight with Mercury, and like who knows how that's gonna turn out
Yeah. So
and
we'll
how
talk.
that's
Let's
gonna
talk
end.
about that. Yeah. So oh, and then Velvet takes a pic of Ruby. So I don't know what their ship name is, but that's happening. Right. That's totally
I
happening.
guess so.
Yeah. Okay. Ruby
Um,
goes to watch the fight and then sees Emerald. Oh, Ruby's watching the fight on her own and not going with her girlfriend Weiss. Why not? I don't understand.
well, it's because Weiss and it's because monochrome is happening
No,
somewhere across.
I reject this happens. I don't even remember it happened anymore. Ruby obviously was there with Weiss, and then Weiss just left to do something else after they watched the fight together. That's what happened.
Monochrome is happening somewhere in the
Nope,
corner,
nope,
and I'm
nope,
sorry.
nope.
Well, they said they were tired of Weiss and Blake both said they were tired of fights. So I think like this makes sense that Ruby's on her own.
Sigh. Okay.
Also, we have to put Ruby in danger to like give myself heart palpitations. Apparently,
Yeah, that's how it works. He sees Emerald, then she goes into some random hallway, and Mercury is there. They announce the fight is going to be Penny
the
versus
music in this
Vera.
entire sequence is incredible. By the way,
Yeah, I agree. As per usual, music the consistent good thing about the season. And then Mercury's like polarity versus metal. That could be bad. So there's a
what is
lot in the scene. Okay, first of all, the fight is going to be Penny versus Beer, which is like one of the most desired fights, like two of our best characters. So two of our most competent fighting characters is what I mean. I assume Penny would win that if she went full force, but I'm not sure.
yeah?
So
I,
the next thing is that Mercury's in the hallway despite Cinder telling him to stay out of sight.
so Mercury's derping it up.
So congrats, Mercury, you're dumb. That's what happened.
You had one. You literally had one job.
Yeah, and we weren't
When
supposed to see you again because you're a bad character, but now apparently you're here.
unless Emerald was like, "Oh no," because they kind of like stared at each other from across the arena very weirdly.
Yeah.
But I don't
I
know.
don't know if Emerald was in on Mercury being there or not, but Cinder certainly wouldn't have approved of that.
Cinder is somewhere like screaming in
You know.
frustration.
Polarity versus metal. Why is Pyrrha polarity? Is that her thing? Is that her semblance? I guess,
I
right?
thought it was the opposite because Penny can do like um can do like magnet stuff
Why is Pyrrha metal then?
because literally she is all metal.
What? Like her
Like
armor?
she fights with a sword and a shield and
Okay.
her armor.
I don't know. Okay.
That's how I took it
I
because
guess
I
it's going
can't
for that.
see Pyrrha winning this fight.
Maybe that's what it's going for. I don't know. Either way,
I don't know.
Mercury's
The thing that's irritating is this can go either way. So like, who knows?
and then Mercury's gonna like attack Ruby, and Ruby doesn't have her thing on her, so that's bad. Um,
For as much as we focus on Pyrrha and like fighting and like her abilities, we don't know her semblance.
People are gonna be in the comment. Don't say it. People in the comments are gonna be like, "We know Pyrrha's semblance. It's this." So don't say that. Anyway, Ruby. So well, my question is like, why doesn't Ruby just like run back out the door and into the public arena, and then Mercury wouldn't be able to follow her?
Because that would make sense.
So I guess what Mercury's going to
And
capture
because Ruby's
Ruby.
mad.
Yeah, I don't know. What's she going to do?
What?
People. So the one thing I've seen is that there's this theory. We mentioned like basically every theory last week, except for this one, which is that Ruby and not the rest of Team Ruby, but only Ruby is one of the maidens and is like the summer maiden. And I saw one of the same people who supports that this time saying, okay, now this is the time when Ruby awakens her summer maiden powers when she's like doesn't have her weapon and is being attacked.
But like that's not how the maidens work, right?
We don't know how they work, so maybe that's good.
That's true.
Maybe
I
Ruby's
don't know.
secretly that after her mom was one of them. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how.
That'd be really hard for me to buy into.
I mean, I'd be fine with Ruby doing cool stuff, but like,
Well, I'm fine with Ruby doing cool. I don't know. I
I'm
don't
I'm not
know.
sure. What do you think the result of this is gonna be? That's like one far fetched option. Like
Like, well,
Ruby
the
gets
thing is, like,
captured. Is that an option?
yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. So, I mean, theoretically, Ruby could win the fight. I don't think it's super likely,
She
although
doesn't
I
have
would
her
love for her to win
friggin'
the fight
weapon
with
on.
confidence.
That's the
But like,
thing.
Ruby can still fight though.
I don't
But
think so. I don't think she could
well,
win.
I'm just saying, like the thing is, like, I don't even know why this outcome would matter unless they capture her. But then why do they care?
Yeah,
Because they
I'm
don't.
not sure what they're going for here. I mean, Ruby obviously knows too much at this point, but they don't really know that Ruby knows too much unless they're
Yeah.
communicating.
And then the only thing I can think of is that like it's just like who and if Ruby gets away or whatever she does, and like who's gonna believe her? Like none of this makes sense. Like I don't understand how this fight at all like does anything.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out plot wise. Um, I guess next episode we have Penny versus Piero. We have whatever the resolution of this is, and then
And why does Mercury decide they need to fight?
yeah, I don't know. This seems not good
He
for
could have just
Mercury.
walked off.
Unless Emerald told Mercury, okay, you need to ambush Ruby because she knows too much. That's the only thing that would make sense. But there wasn't time for that.
I none of that. It just what
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see next episode. All I know is Ruby's in trouble, and that's bad. So we have to protect Ruby at all costs, obviously.
Also, Ruby, why are you walking around without your weapon? Like, honey, get your life together, please.
Honey. Unless it got stolen from her, but no one else was there, right? Emerald was on the other side.
No, she just, whatever weird reason, doesn't have her weapon on her. Like,
I don't know.
What the heck?
Okay. Other things. I feel like we covered everything. Predictions here. I don't know. Who knows what they could do anything with the plot now.
Like, I feel like they're accelerating the plot, but the thing is, like, we don't know what's supposed to happen anyway, so, like, it's not going to make sense for a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 episodes left, and in theory, something will happen next episode. Obviously, Pyrrha has to make her decision, and then they have to do the thing, the consciousness transfer, and who knows if that'll work, and yeah.
The bad guys have to implement their big plan, whatever.
Which we don't know
what do they want?
What it is. So let's get a move on. Let's go. Let's go. Make this make sense. All right.
Like, it doesn't even feel like, I don't like. Is there continuity this season? I don't know. I don't know.
There's attempted continuity.
Attempted. That's the thing. It doesn't succeed. That's the problem.
I do think this was good overall. You're less high on it, but it's again. To me, trying to view this in isolation, I think this is again frustrating if you look at it from a season-long perspective.
Well, I just didn't care about anything that happened in this episode.
Yeah, I do think. Yeah, so, I mean, it's just differences on what we care about. Like, I care about Team Juniper slightly more, although not that much, honestly. I like the Ruby stuff at the end. The Pyrrha and John. I think that's the thing. The Pyrrha and John, which I usually don't care about, like, I think was a pretty successful scene. Like, I think that's the most successful scene narratively. So I don't know. And the Ruby and Velvet one.
Like, they do interesting things, and like they're moving the plot, and like they had good moments. I just didn't care.
Hashtag I just didn't care. Yep. So we'll see what happens next time.
Hashtag IDC.
Wikipedia has it listed as 4 more episodes. There's a break on the 23rd. I'm not sure where they're getting that information from, but it does seem like, I think they said it would end on the 13th, and there's only 4 more, so there has to be 1 break left. But other than that, every week. So, yeah, that's it for Destiny. Let us know what you thought. YouTube comments, comments on the website, Tumblr asks, stuff like that. Interested to see how they handle the rest of the season, even though it's been kind of a big mess. Still excited. It's still RWBY, I'm Dylan Hysen, that's Delaney Stovall. You can find out more about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can support us at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, Shayna, Mitch, Cordell, Beatrice, Nate, Andy, Jamie, and Rachel, aka Hannah, Fever, Mitch, Cordell, University, Beach Exchange, Buzz, like your mailman, and Rachel Rose. Last thoughts on this episode or next episode, hashtag protect RWBY 2K16.
Yes, I mean, this episode was meh. I am excited something's happening next time, and I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next week. And yeah, I don't know, still excited. I have hope that they will resolve this plot in a somewhat coherent way. Well, maybe in a satisfying way. Maybe that's unfounded, but we'll see. Okay. You good?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.